Hey, this is Ryan from Mama on Mission, and I was inspired by Candace over at Homeschool on the Hill, and I am going to start doing a monthly book review of the books that not only I have read, but that we've read during homeschool, and the books that my little guys have been reading just by themselves. Um, a lot of these books this month you will see were from my Fall in Love with Books collab that I did. Um, but those that I have finished, I will give you a review of what I thought of them. So, as you know, I was still reading The Wellness Revelation into September, but did not finish it. If you watched my Fall in Love with Books collab, um, I just need to take a break from it, and I hope to pick it back up later when I can fully devote time into it, because it's not just a read it and be done with it. It has a guide to it. It has questions you have to answer. It has workouts to do, um, and I was just getting too busy for it. So I hope to pick it back up because I loved what I have learned from it so far, and I think it's a great program. Just not for me for now. So this is part of September, so I wanted to go ahead and include it, but I don't have a full review on it because I did not finish it. I also started in September but have not finished, but I'm still working on it, so I will finish it. This Boundaries book, and I will give you a review of it in October when I should finish it. And so far, so good, but I'll wait till October to tell you what I really think. Another one I'm in the midst, that's it for nonfiction. I read a lot of nonfiction in August throughout the summer, and I'm kind of on a fiction kick right now. But I'm currently reading Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And again, since I'm still in the middle of it, I don't want to give a review yet, but I'll review this in October also. And there are some books, and more books in the fiction category that I don't have on hand because they were either audiobooks or library books that I've already returned. I listened to this month Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. That I don't feel like I need to give much of a review on because if you've read it, then you know, and if you haven't read it, well, you know what it's about because it's kind of famous. But actually, Prisoner of Azkaban is maybe my favorite of the Harry Potters. Of course, I love the first one because everyone loves the first one because it's like when everything was new and they're so young and everything. But the Prisoner of Azkaban, like I just love the story behind it and the mystery and the surprise at the end and everything. I won't give it away in case you haven't read it and want to, but good stuff. It's probably my favorite of the series. I also read The Midwife's Apprentice. If you saw my Fall in Love with Book collab, you know that I'm trying to read through some Newbery winners. And I read The Midwife's Apprentice. It's a really short book, and it's a really easy read, but it's kind of interesting. It's a little depressing, but it had me laughing out loud a couple times. It's just an interesting read. It's a quick, interesting read, I'll tell you that much, because there's not really much else I can say without giving away the story. But it's not super, like, the plot itself isn't super, like, thrilling and deep. It's just kind of a, I don't know, it's a good story. And then I also listened to Animal Farm. That was on my list for the fall, and I loved it. It was, again, pretty short, but which I love George Orwell. Like, I'm a huge 1984 fan, so it was kind of a given that I was going to like this. And yeah, just those cautionary tale type things I've always kind of loved. And then I am currently listening to Atlas Shrugged. I'm only, I don't know how many chapters I am, but when you download on Audible, it's so long that you have to download it by chunks, like sections. And I'm just now finishing up the first section. And I think total read time is like 62 hours or something. And the first chunk was a little over 8 hours, I think. So I'm making my way through it, but it's going to be a while. Hopefully I'll have it ready to review in October. I'm not sure that I will, but we did finish this month. Little House on the Prairie, classic. I was just telling someone today that I actually did not love these when I first, well, I read this one first. When I first read this one when I was younger, it took me a while. I did not like it. I was just, I don't know, I didn't like it. Um, and I can't remember what grade I was in. The girls were supposed to read Little House on the Prairie, and the boys were supposed to read Boxcar Children. I started reading this, and I was like, can I switch? Can I read the boys' book? And my teacher was kind enough to let me, because I was just, I don't know, I wasn't interested. And I love the Boxcar Children. I love the, the mystery and the adventure that um, the Boxcar Children had in it. So, but I later on read. I don't know if I've read the whole series yet, but I read 3 or 4 of these and liked them. So I grew into them, but I wasn't sure if my boys would like this series because it is, the girl main character and everything. My boys are still pretty young, but they loved it. Like we read all up to this point. So we've read Farmer Boy and Little House in the Big Woods, and they've loved them. There's enough adventure and everything that they really get into it, and they really loved the Indians in this one. And so we ended up studying a little bit, watching some videos and stuff about the Indian tribe that they talk about in this, because I didn't understand what like the screaming calls were, the war cries that they were doing. So I looked up some of the war cries, and they were amazed by the Native American culture. And last but not least, we are still working on Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. This, I thought I had read it as a kid. I know I read The Chocolate Factory, and I know I read several doll books, but I'm not sure that I have, because now that I'm reading it, I'm like, did I read this? I don't remember this. And the first, I don't know, we're not very far into it, like maybe a third of the way into it, but there's a chapter in here that I was literally crying. I was laughing so hard. And I'm like, I think I would remember this, but also like it's kind of like dad joke humor, so I probably didn't appreciate it as a kid if I did read it. But this book has us laughing a lot. Um, and then my youngest guy's a kindergartner, so he just reads whatever we're reading. So whatever picture books his brother or I read to him is basically what he reads, and he just kind of skims through some other stuff. Although he did start reading full sentences this past week or two, so it won't be long, and I have some early readers that I'm going to start giving him. And then my second grader has been really into Magic Tree House. I can't remember which ones he's read this month. He reads them really fast, so I don't know. But he's reading those. He's read one of the Bailey School Children books. I used to love those, like the Ghost Don't Eat Potato Chips. I showed him those. I was like, do you want to read some of these? And he's like, yeah. And then he didn't seem too impressed with the first one that I gave him, but then when we were at the library the other day, wanted to check out another one, so I let him check out another one. We'll see how that goes. He's in the middle of reading right now, and he's also reading the Weird School books, which I'm not so sure about those. Like, I don't know. He thinks it's funny, but I'm not sure that I really like the content. But that being said, I'm having a hard time finding stuff that is age appropriate for him, but isn't just like totally goofy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I need something that's on his grade level, plus is appropriate for him, not gross and not, too mature. And I'm just having a really hard time. So if you guys have any suggestions for second grader independent readers, we have lots of read alouds, but I want something that, he loves reading chapter books. Now that he has the confidence to do it, he loves it. And so I'm looking for stuff that's like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be Christian, or it can be, I don't care, but just clean, on level stuff for him. I'm having a really hard time with that. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. And let me know what you're reading in the comments below. I love getting new book suggestions. My list, just like I take off a chunk of my list and then replenish it with, there's always more books to read. So I would love to hear what you're reading and get recommendations from you. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.